Am I the asshole? For telling my friends that my husband isn't well read? Background: my husband, let's call him Will, is in the Navy, and he works on nuclear reactors on submarines. We've been together for 4 years, married for 2. We were at a small house party with a few friends of mine from college, and we were discussing books we've all read, when at one point one of my friends, let's call him Steve, asks Will, "So Will, what's your favorite book?" And my husband responds, "Oh, I really like To Kill a Mockingbird." Then Steve gives him a quizzical look and asks him, "Have you read any books outside of high school?" And Will hesitates a bit and says, "Outside of manuals at work, I guess I haven't." So then I try to explain to Steve, "Oh yeah, he's not well educated, so he's never had a reason to be well read." We all had a good laugh, but then Will didn't really contribute a whole lot to the conversation the rest of the night. On the car ride back, Will was pretty quiet. I ask if he's fine, and all he says in a sarcastic tone is, "Peachy." I ask him if I did anything to upset him, and he responds back with, "I don't know. I don't think I'm educated enough to properly explain myself." I tell him I didn't tell my friends that he was unintelligent, just that he wasn't college educated. He accused me of minimizing how hard his Navy schooling was, but I explained that military education and college education are simply not the same. We continued to fight until we got home. I texted my sister about what happened, and she called me a huge asshole and that I need to apologize, and now I'm having second thoughts about how I handled this. Am I the asshole? Reddit. You're the asshole. I think we have found the biggest R of the day right here. Wow. Oh, he's not well educated. Your husband works on nuclear reactors, for goodness sake. He is incredibly intelligent, and your college degree would be useless in his field of work. Please take your elitist attitudes elsewhere and remember that practical skills are just as valuable as intellectual ones. You're the asshole, and so are your friends. Then Steve gives him a quizzical look and asks him, "Have you read any books outside of high school?" Steve can F right off too. Oh yeah, he's not well educated, so he's never had a reason to be well read. We all had a good laugh. Your pretentious group might believe itself well read, but it clearly lacks any social intelligence. Motherfucker works on goddamn nuclear reactors on submarines, but he's not well educated. You're the asshole. Of course you're the asshole. However, before I explain further, I will need to see evidence of your qualifications. I fear that you may not be able to understand my comments if you are not sufficiently educated. If that proves to be the case, do not feel concerned, it's just how you are. You're the asshole, and a huge one. Are you sure someone as educated and well-read as you are should even be married to someone as stupid and illiterate as your nuclear engineer husband? Unbelievable that you are so clueless about your obvious disdain for your husband. Let me tell you, OP bubbleheads submariners are some of the smartest and best trained people in the Navy. They are more highly trained, more educated, and they go through rigorous screening and testing just to be considered for submarine duty. You are married to someone who is probably smarter than you. And you dare look down on him? Shame on you. You're the asshole. I can't even fathom why a guy with that level of intelligence and clearance is with you, because you seem dumber than a box of rocks. I have a military education. I went to the US Air Force Academy and a master's degree. You, my dear, are an asshat dependent of the highest degree. The amount of training, education, and security clearance your husband has is impressive and way beyond your comprehension, obviously. You and your little band of snotty college friends need to fuck right off to the hole you crawled out of and learn some basic manners. I hope your husband loses the sea anchor he's got chained to him right now, shaped like you. You're the asshole. Why would you need to throw out there that your husband isn't educated? That seems very belittling and unnecessary to the convo. You could have just said my husband enjoys doing other things besides reading and tried to include your husband, not separate him even more. You're the asshole, and also kind of dumb. He is educated, he went to school as part of his service. Yes, military education counts. A lot of people who go to college for something other than liberal education or the arts will also not read many fiction books. Most of my friends who are engineers, computer scientists, etc. didn't read many fiction books during school. A military education is a good education. He works on nuclear reactors on submarines. Not everyone reads a lot of fiction. That doesn't mean they aren't well educated. He has the education of an engineer or an applied scientist, it sounds. Holy shit, use your educational plethora of knowledge to reflect on human decency. You were demeaning, so was your friend with the quizzical, you not even realizing that puts up the question if your emotional maturing process halted in college. Yes, you owe him an apology, and if you think just because someone isn't engaged in literature it means they are uneducated, then you are shallow. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. You belittled your husband and laughed about it with your friends. It is possible to be an efficient reader with a high school education. You're the asshole, and so is your friend Steve. Your comment wasn't even funny, you were just patting yourselves on the back because you think you're smarter than your husband. Being well-read or well-educated does not equate with being smart or apparently kind in your case. You could have used this situation as an opportunity to encourage your husband to read some of the books that you and your friends enjoy, because reading is a great hobby he might enjoy, not because he needs to be well-read, but you decided to make him feel stupid instead. You're the asshole. What the fuck? I'm not well educated and I love to read. I know people with multiple degrees and have never picked up a book for fun. The two have nothing to do with each other. You chose to put him down and call him stupid in front of your friends. An absolute submarine size. You're the asshole. Your husband should have definitely married someone smarter than you. Do you always put your husband down to make yourself feel better? What you do for work? Is it more complicated than nuclear reactors? Imagine being married to someone like you, just awful. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. That was a really terrible thing to say about your partner to other people, especially in front of him. JFC. He works on nuclear reactors on submarines. You should have stood up for him and told Steve that To Kill a Mockingbird was a great book for someone to like. Different people have different things they are better at or well versed at. To put someone down for not being a book reader is super crappy. Edit. I read it a few more times and I am just more horrified as I read it. Your emotional intelligence is sorely lacking. You're the asshole. And quite elitist. You insulted your husband. The man defends our country and works on nuclear reactors, but he's not good enough for you and your friends. And he is very well educated. Again, could you fix a nuclear reactor? I didn't think so. And to add, I bet you love throwing around the "you are a Navy wife" and enjoy all the benefits, both real and perceived, of his service while simultaneously bashing his lack of college education makes you Major R. You're the asshole. A college education doesn't teach common sense. I hate you already, figuratively, not literally. You're a massive R. You're the asshole. If you think so little of him, why are you with him? Or better yet, why is he with you? You are such an absolute, obtuse, snob. Why would you treat someone you supposedly love so poorly? You're the asshole. You're horrible. You better apologize, then apologize again. And maybe he will forgive. I don't know if I could stay with someone who thinks less of me because I wasn't a book nerd. You're the asshole. I have 3 degrees and I certainly could not work on a nuclear reactor. Your husband has an incredibly difficult and complex job that required extensive training and education. That he does not read for pleasure and that he does not have a traditional 4-year degree does not make him uneducated. You are a terrible snob. Maybe you should educate yourself a little more on the complexities of nuclear submarines.